name is Josh Armstrong. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Philosophy, and I'm here today to represent the Department of Philosophy. I think in principle, the philosophy program benefits anyone who wants to learn and think clearly about foundational questions. In general, philosophy helps train people to see the complexities in issues that other people have seen as being simple, and also to see the simplicity in issues that other people have found hopelessly complex or impossible to make progress on. And I think such skills are things that everyone and anyone would benefit from developing. So that's in principle. In practice, however, our program is geared toward those that are interested in pursuing philosophy professionally, and where that consists in writing philosophy professionally, engaging in kind of professional philosophical interactions. And most of the graduates of our program will go on to work in the education sector in one way or another, as professors in universities or in colleges, as teachers in other educational sectors. There's also a number of people that go on after finishing their PhDs in philosophy to work in law, either in a law school or even in practicing law. So most of our graduates in the program are geared in that way toward the educational sector and law. Our program is primarily a PhD program, and so students will receive a master's degree on their way to the PhD, but we admit students that are looking to finish their PhDs in philosophy. Generally speaking, the program itself is about 5 years to 7 years to complete. In very exceptional circumstances, it could take less time. In also somewhat exceptional, increasingly exceptional circumstances, it can take longer, but generally 5 to 7 years is a rough roundabout for the number of time in the program itself. The application process adds another 6 months to a year of preparation for. Typically, students will apply for programs somewhere between the end of November to the end of January. They'll hear back from those programs sometime in February or March, and they'll have to make a decision about where they'll be attending in middle of April, usually by April 15th. And so between the 5 to 7 years in the program and the other 6 months to a year of preparation, it's about, again, then 6 to 8 years total from start of the application process to the finishing of the PhD. So all students in our program are provided with full funding, and that includes a tuition waiver, so there's no tuition charges, and it also includes a living stipend, which helps pay for rent, for living expenses, for the ins and outs of life as a graduate student. We also try as a program to provide students with the ability to serve as a teacher or as a section leader, also sometimes called a TA, over the summer to help supplement their income. And this makes the program quite affordable. I mean, I really strongly believe that no student should ever go into debt while pursuing a PhD in the humanities. I think that's true across the board. It's a lot of financial demands that it would put on people. It's important that they not go into a huge amount of debt in the process. Our program, as in most other PhD programs in the country, allows students to be able to go through the program to be able to finish their PhDs without going into debt. And so I think the funding package is an important consideration when students are thinking about both where to apply to and in particular where to accept in the path toward their graduate education. A wide range of questions that students are naturally interested in. One question that often gets asked is just the difficulties of getting admitted into the PhD program at UCLA. It's a good question. It's a very competitive process. It is difficult to get into any high-ranking PhD program, but it's not impossible. And so we encourage serious applications from a really wide range of students from a very wide range of backgrounds. And I think that if students are worried about their chances of admission, it's good to reach out to the grad director to get a sense of what successful applications look like. But on the other hand, students should also put their hat in the ring and apply. And so you can't get admitted into a program which you don't apply for. And so it's good to just put yourself out there and apply. Another question that often gets asked is, for the students that do get admitted into the program, what is their access to faculty? What's the relationship between other graduate students? I do think these are very serious and important questions that, as students are deciding on where to pursue graduate study, that they need to reflect on. I can say here at UCLA in the philosophy department that students have very direct access to faculty. It's not a kind of program where faculty disappear and students have difficulty ever getting in touch with faculty. I think faculty are readily available to work with students from the start of their time in the PhD program to the completion of the program. I also don't know this firsthand, but my sense is that it's a good camaraderie among the graduate students. The graduate students, both in the year that they started, the so-called cohort, but also across the different age and years in the program, that the interactions are good and it's a very friendly environment. And so I think it's an environment that does facilitate and support graduate training and the interactions both between faculty and grad students and between grads and other grad students. Our website is the best place to look for information. As in many places, it provides a lot of detailed information about the graduate program, about the requirements for applying, but also it provides information about placement for students that have finished. So where students have gone on to get jobs, particularly within academia. And I think that this is a really important thing for interested students to be paying attention to, is where are grads getting jobs? What are people who are finishing going on to do, and to get a sense of the overall numbers. And this is something that you can find information about on the website. You can also find information about the requirements of the PhD program, the course distribution, about other requirements in the program, as well as just getting a sense of what kinds of courses get offered in the graduate program, what kinds of resources are available to grads. So the website is, I think, just the best source of information on that score. The other source of information is just to reach out and get in touch with the grad director. So this is also something that's listed on the website. There'll be a faculty member that is serving as the director of the graduate studies. And interested students, if they have particular questions that they're not seeing addressed on the website, should reach out and get in touch with the grad director. So I think that I would just end with the point that I do think that the UCLA philosophy department is one of the best departments in the country. It's a wonderful place to pursue graduate study. I think that in terms of advice, students can find a lot of information about grad programs, both our graduate program and other graduate programs, online through websites like the Philosophical Gourmet Report, and also websites like the Academic Placement Data and Analysis. These are really useful sources of information about, again, information about placement, information about the relative strengths of different departments in terms of the areas of philosophy that different departments specialize in. So it does pay for students to do their homework and look at these websites and to really find the best fit for them, because sometimes the the name of the school doesn't indicate certain degrees of strength or weakness. And so it does really pay for students to do their work in collecting as much relevant information as that they're able to collect. The other thing I would say in terms of advice is I think that the best source of information about graduate school here at UCLA philosophy, but also other graduate programs, is actually other graduate students. Most graduate students are quite willing and able to answer questions over email. And so if prospective students are curious about what it's like to be a graduate student, if they're curious about what it's like to be a graduate student in a specific department, it really does make a lot of sense to send a few emails out to graduate students, ask them specific questions, ask them for advice. And I think that they will give you the best on the ground, reliable and honest assessments of what it's like to be a graduate student in the program. And so I really strongly encourage students that are interested not to be shy, to send emails to students, to send emails to faculty. Not everyone will respond. That's just the nature of the situation, but many will respond, and you'll often get very, very helpful information about life in the graduate program. And so don't be shy, reach out to people. Okay, thank you for listening to me. Again, I'm Professor Josh Armstrong, assistant professor in the Department of Philosophy. Thanks for listening, and be sure to reach out to me or others in the program for any questions you may have.